So I think everyone knows at this point about Charlie Kirk, how he was shot and killed. Did not expect something like this to happen. It's funny, when I was, since I work as a barista, I'm also a cashier, and so when I was counting my till out, counting the cash that was in the drawer, I got like a notification saying like prayers for Charlie Kirk, and I was wondering, oh, that's interesting. But I didn't really look at to see what happened, and then like later on, I kind of learned about what happened, joined with some guys who were praying on Instagram for his soul, or for that he would survive, even though like at that point it's like seemed iffy. And then we got the news that he died. How do we respond to this? I'm going to say vengeance, but not the vengeance you're probably thinking. It's so easy to like think that we should, like when it comes to people doing evil things, that we should think of an eye for an eye, and that like whatever is done to one of our own, we should do to them. That's not the right answer, obviously. The weapons that we should take up, the arms that we should take up, are not guns. It's not the time for civil war. This is not the time for hating our brothers and sisters, whether they are Christian or not. It's not the time to hate those who are trans, who are on the left, or anything like that. We have to keep in mind what's really going on. The vengeance that we should wage, the war we should wage, is against the principalities and powers of this world, as St. Paul says. I believe in maybe Ephesians, I'm not exactly sure which epistle he says that, but he says our battle is not with flesh and blood, it is with the principalities and powers of this world. The demonic is real. Just think of how many people were very glad that Charlie Kirk was shot. Think of how many people celebrated his death. And yet, St. Paul makes it clear that they are not the enemy. The enemy we should fight is the devil and his legions, as well as sin. And of course, it begins with the battle within ourselves. And then from there, the battle that is going on out in the world. Something to keep in mind is this. People are talking about that we should have the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom to speak freely about even the most controversial topics. But here's the thing. The early Christians did not have freedom of speech. The early Christians did not have freedom of religion. The early Christians weren't even recognized as a quote-unquote protected group. And yet they still spoke boldly, prayed boldly, and lived their lives dedicated to Jesus Christ without the rights that we have today. And I gotta tell myself this too. We need to be more bold. We're speaking the truth in charity. We need to be more bold also with the war going on inside ourselves. myself included. This isn't the time to hate. It's not the time to hate. It's not the time to wish evil on our enemies. Remember, we are not dealing with flesh and blood. And if we don't want Charlie Kirk's blood to have been shed in vain, it's important to keep this in mind. And pray for the conversion of sinners. Pray for the conversion of the person who killed him. Because one of the greatest acts of vengeance against the evil one is if this killer becomes a saint. That is the ultimate act of vengeance that we should wage. To pray, to fast, to give alms, to live out the Christian life, and offer sacrifices to make up what is lacking in the sufferings of Christ, which is the church, and to pray for the conversion of this particular individual who acted out of great hatred, that he decided to take a gun and kill Charles. And so that is the most important goal. We are called to vengeance, but not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities and powers of this world. Thanks.